Flournoy. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Eternal God and kind Father, we thank you so much for the blessing you have bestowed upon us, especially with your Son, Jesus Christ, and his salvation and the finished work on the cross. We thank you for keeping our mayor and the city council. Now we ask that you fall fresh on this council meeting, that they will make good decisions that will honor you and benefit the citizens of Bonner Springs. And we have left this place. Guide us home safe and let us find what we left just as we left it. And teach us to love one another. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever. Amen.
Thank you, Pat. The first item tonight is on citizens' concerns about items not on. Thank you. The first item tonight is about citizens' concerns about items not on tonight's agenda. Is there anyone that would like to stand and address the City Council about an item that's not on the agenda in the open meeting? These items will be reviewed and researched as necessary and put on a future agenda if necessary. Seeing none, we'll move along to our consent agenda. The consent agenda this evening includes the minutes from the July 11th City Council meeting, claims for city operation, second quarter 2022 financial reports, as well as appointments to boards and commissions. Anything to be pulled by city staff? Citizens? Questions or concerns from the council? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Reeves and seconded by Mr. Shannon. Vote, please.
Shannon?
Yes.
Long? Yes. Wood? Yes. Gurley? Yes. Kip?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to new business. Our first new business this evening is the Unified Development Ordinance Contract Amendment for Phases 2 and 3. That's a mouthful.
Amber Vogan, Assistant City Manager. I also have Don Warwick with Friesen Nichols on the line in case you have any questions for Friesen Nichols. They recently worked with us to complete phase 1 of the Unified Development Ordinance project. That was a diagnostic report and the joint meeting that we had between the council and the Planning Commission. We'd like to move forward with them for phases 2 and 3 of the Unified Development Ordinance, which would be to draft the ordinance, and then it takes us through final adoption. Final adoption right now, based on the schedule, would be around October of 2023. The amount for the contract for phases 2 and 3 is $170,000. We budgeted $175,000 for these 2 phases. We also have about $10,000 left over from phase 1 that we didn't use, and that would be for contingencies, or if we wanted to add more meetings or in-person meetings, we could do so.
Thank you. Anything else to add by staff? Questions or concerns from the citizens? Then I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve a contract amendment with Friesen Nichols to perform phases 2 and 3 of the Unified Development Ordinance for an amount not to exceed $170,000.
Second.
Moved and seconded by Mr. Shannon, seconded by
Give it to Mr. Reeves.
And since he seconded it, we'll start down there with questions or concerns.
None here. None here.
None here.
None
That's great. Seeing none, vote please.
Reeves.
Yes.
Stevens.
Yes.
Kip.
Yes.
Gurley.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Long. Yes. Shannon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to item number 2, the resolution setting a public hearing to consider the formation of a rural housing incentive. Anything as far as an introduction, staff?
Yes. Sorry.
Oh, you're
Amber Vogan,
fine.
Assistant City Manager. This is the next step of the process to set up the Rural Housing Incentive District. This would be for the Sandstone Townhomes just north of Feldman's. We sent our last resolution and the housing analysis to the Secretary of Commerce, who we heard back from approved us to move forward with continuing the process to set up the district. The resolution in front of you tonight sets the public hearing for September 12th, and the resolution will be published in the Wyandotte Echo on September 1st. And we'd also send this to the taxing jurisdictions and the Planning Commission per statute. The night of September 12th, after the public hearing, we'd consider a final ordinance to set the district and the final terms of the development agreement. Right now, we're looking at a 75% amount that would go into an account to be able to use for reimbursable expenses for the developer. That would be for the first 15 to 17 years or until reaching the first cap of 5 million. And then at that point, the percentage that goes into the reimbursable account would decrease by 5%. So our incoming taxes would go up and the eligible amount going to the developer would go down 5% each year through the end of the term, which could be 25 years max. It does take out 28 mills for the school district and the 1.5 for the state, which are not eligible for abatement. And we have Alex Howe here he's the developer of the project. If you have any questions for him, or I'm happy to answer any about RHID.
Very good. Thank you. Any other staff input? No? Seeing none. Citizens, questions, concerns? Gentlemen, do you have anything to add? Great. Good. Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to adopt a resolution setting the date and time of the public hearing to consider establishing a rural housing incentive district and adopting a plan for the development of housing and public facilities in the district.
Second.
Does the date and time have to be indicated?
No, it's in the resolution. We'll publish it. And
Okay, very good. Moved by Mr. Reeves and seconded by Mr. Shannon. Questions, concerns, comments? We'll start down here.
Nothing here.
I'm just interested in how it affects the school district, but I'm sure that's been dealt with.
there's a spreadsheet in the packet, and I realize it's a little bit small, but it shows how much the school district will be bringing in each year over the term of the RHID. And we've separated it out. So there's 2 columns for the school. One would be the 75% of the abatable mills, and then the other is the 100% of the mills that we can't abate.
I looked at that, but I'm talking about how many new kids is it going to bring into the district?
Oh, I see. It's about 140 households. Census data is about 2.5 people per household, so a 0.5 per, a half a kid per. Yeah.
85 kids. Okay, I'm just kind of interested in that sort of thing. Fine.
Nothing here.
Actually, I do have a question about the spreadsheet, just for clarification. The one for taxes collected by existing jurisdictions, I noticed on the first year, if you add those across, it adds up to the amount of the taxes collected by the taxing entities. In years 2 through 15, those are all stay stable, but yet that taxes collected by taxing entities is about 80,000, 85,000 shy of that. I was just curious.
It could be when we separated out the school district, if the calculation didn't carry through. That sounds about how much it would be for that, and I may have forgotten to add that back in.
I think he just pointed out the school tax
Yeah.
for the school district. Okay, so that's why I was curious why those didn't add up
Okay.
in the subsequent years after
Yes.
the first year. Okay, thank you.
Nothing more.
Has that been your experience that about one kid for every other apartment, or what do you expect, numbers of children? Okay. 140, that'd be less than 70, so yeah, about a little bit less. Thank you, just rough estimate. Seeing no other questions, concerns, comments? Vote, please.
Voting on a motion to adopt a resolution setting the date and time of a public hearing to consider establishing a rural housing incentive district and adopting a plan for the development of housing and public facilities in the district. Wood?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Congratulations. Thank you.
This one?
And your top one's on. But. Okay, I have to find my next one. Sorry. Yeah.
The North Park Rescue.
Technology is terrible. All right, on to item number 3, awarding a bid for the North Park Restroom Project. Staff.
Amber Vogan, Assistant City Manager. We received one bid from Legacy Underground totaling $98,798 to install utilities, prep the site, install the structure, and then reseed the site and get it prepared for opening. The structure was about $74,000, and this, if we award this bid, it leaves a remaining budget of about $23,000, which would be for contingencies or future projects.
Anything else from other staff? Citizens? Questions, concerns? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I would like to make a motion to award the bid for the North Park Restroom Project to Legacy Underground Construction, Inc. for an amount not to exceed $98,798.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Gurley and seconded by Mrs. Long. And we'll go ahead and start right here with any questions or concerns. Ma'am? None? Sir?
Nothing here.
I can hardly wait.
Hold it.
I wondered if you'd get that.
Seeing nothing else, vote please.
Reeves?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to number 4, resolution to approve submitting the renewal of the emergency services sales tax to the electors. Staff?
I guess that's me. So there's the emergency, I gotta make sure I get these two straight because we're presenting two of them to you this evening. The emergency services sales tax is one that is expiring in September of 23, and the resolution before you this evening is to allow us to put it on the November ballot to go in front of the voters to renew that quarter of 1% or quarter of 1 cent sales tax, and also to change it so that it encompasses operations as well. Currently, it's just for capital.
Very good. And this would run for a period of 10 years
Yes, sir, 10 years.
and then sunset. Very good. Any other staff comments, questions, concerns? Seeing none. Citizens, questions, concerns concerning the emergency services sales tax? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve a resolution to place the renewal of the emergency services sales tax on the November 8th ballot.
So moved by Mr. Shannon, seconded by Mrs. Gurley. Questions, concerns, comments? We'll start right here with you, sir. Nothing?
It's a renewal, right?
Yes?
Yeah, okay.
I would definitely like to see it sunset and go away. I think currently we're at 9.75% sales tax, and Shawnee's at 9.61. Is that right?
We're 9.25
9.25 with
Yeah.
the quarter.
with these two, the current that are in place. So it would stay at 9.25 if they're renewed.
We have parts of Bonner Springs that have a little bit higher because of community improvement districts, but the sales tax for the majority of Bonner Springs is 9.25%.
The city's rate is 1.75. 1.25 of it's a general tax, and then a quarter of it's this sales tax, and then a quarter of it's the capital.
When I Google it, it says 9.75. That's why I was wondering.
It's wrong.
We should fix that.
Well, Shawnee,
Your goggles.
the Johnson County portion, like if you go to Grass Pad, it's probably higher because
Then it says Bonner Springs, Kansas sales tax 10.25%.
10.25 is in the SID district up there, the Westlake. That SID district is 1%, the 1% SID. So, but there are, like Johnson County sales tax across the river in Bonner is higher than the Wyandotte County sales tax.
Mark, we have charts, if you're interested, we have charts that break down the sales tax, what portion is city, county for each entity, and then the Wyandotte County section, the SID district, the Leavenworth County, and the Johnson County.
Yeah, that'd be great.
And we can email those out if you'd like.
Thanks.
Get it over.
Yeah, they're on the finance page. Plus, there's a lookup. I think you can go in and put in
You can go out to the Kansas.
a location, and it'll tell you what tax rate it is.
I don't remember if it's Department of Revenue or Secretary of State's site. It'll break those down for you as well.
Very good.
Nothing here.
Any other questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none, vote please.
Voting on a motion to approve a resolution to place the renewal of the emergency services sales tax on the November 8th ballot. Wood?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Gurley? Yes. Reeves?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Motion passes.
On to item number 5, which is a resolution to approve submitting the renewal of the capital improvement sales tax to the electors. Staff?
Very similar to the one that we just presented, and maybe I can stumble through this a little bit better. It is also a quarter of 1%. It's an existing general capital improvement sales tax that will be expiring. I believe this one expires in December of 2023. With your approval of the resolution this evening, we would be able to put that on the ballot in November for voters. Just like the previous one, if it renews, our taxes don't increase, they'll stay the same. So,
Sales
if you have any
tax
questions.
don't increase, they stay the same.
The tax rate.
Any other staff? Citizens, questions, concerns? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve a resolution to place the renewal of the capital improvement sales tax on the November 8th ballot.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Stevens and seconded by Mr. Reeves. We'll go ahead and start with questions or concerns, comments right here, ma'am.
Only in that the financial page on the website is dated July 1st, 2015. Can we update the date?
What does it say?
Right, the numbers are accurate, but.
That's when it went into effect.
Okay,
probably.
as of July 1st, okay. Okay, thank you.
Nothing here.
Nothing additional.
Nothing here.
Tilly, since these are so important, and I think it's something that everybody looks at, like, gosh, well, how much is this really going to cost us and stuff? But what I have found is people fail to realize, or maybe they realize it but don't say anything, that this is paid by everybody that comes into Bonner. And if this is excluded, if this is not approved, that means everything falls on us.
We either cut services or we raise our current
Property
residents'
tax.
property taxes to
And
pay for it.
one only needs to drive through the parking lot at Walmart, for example, and take a look at how many license plates are from other counties. And it's a nice, we're providing services for them, and they're helping provide services that they hopefully won't need, but they're there for them. And are we, this may be premature, but how are we going to, or how do we foresee approaching this for the upcoming ballot in November? Publicity-wise, information-wise?
I'll let
and
Sean speak to that.
So as a reminder, statutorily, the city is limited to what we can say. We can't take an advocacy type of role in any type of initiative. So what we do is provide facts. And I think we sent something out, with our last newsletter. Megan actually put something together that shows exactly what I think. I complimented her on it because I don't have this ability, but took a penny, 1 penny is what we're talking about, and then cut that up into 4 and said, this is what we're, visually, this is what we're talking about, is a quarter of a penny coming back to the city for these things. So what we're hoping to do is kind of continue that campaign, if you will, of just highlighting what we've been able to accomplish with this. I think as far as the capital improvement, you have to look no further than our streets. That's been, at least as long as I've been here, the major push with our capital improvement sales tax is to put that into our street infrastructure, just because that was the top item when we did a survey a couple of years ago that people wanted to see. So hopefully the condition is still well enough that that's a positive. The emergency sales tax, again, I think that is what it is, which is your police, your fire, EMS. So between apparatuses, police vehicles, police equipment, fire tools, the addition on the fire station to house our EMS, which previously did not necessarily have a home, suitable home. Those are all things. So that's, I think, our approach, is to say, this is what we've done with the money. And hopefully that is visually compelling enough that people will hopefully want to vote on it one way or another.
As a,
Well,
excuse me.
Go ahead. Sorry.
As a kind of a side thought, it'd be interesting to find out exactly how much we have saved our families because of this.
Oh, yeah.
1/4 of 1% sales and items.
Yep. So this, I think, that is 600.
6 mils.
Yeah. Well, it's 6 mils. Yeah.
Just for 1/4 cent. If you wanted to
12
fund it, if you wanted to fund it with property tax, you'd have to raise 6 mils
6 mills, and that would be approximately.
Or a quarter.
For one of them.
for
Right.
one of them.
12 mils.
12 mils for
what it
both
would
of
take
them.
to get
Both of those.
both of these sales tax renewals is what we're talking about. Is
So
a
if we
12
didn't
mil
give,
impact.
if that's not approved, then it would be, for us to maintain the level that we have, it would be an additional 12 mills.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, and that is how much a mill approximately?
About 100,000. a male.
So we've been saving our families roughly 600,000 a year over the course of.
In totality, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Approximately,
values
yeah,
aside.
just.
As a city, yes.
And I'd be real interested in my fellow council members to get their, or have them give you their opinion on how we could, in other words, encourage this, but also to maybe add how much we've saved.
Yep. Yeah.
That's exactly right. And Bonner has not just the roads, but before that, the library, and before that, the swimming pool. And we've had a long history of utilizing a quarter-cent sales tax to benefit the city as a whole by taxing people that are shopping here, utilizing our services, and not otherwise contributing. We've enjoyed a positive commercial draw for many years. Do you know what that factor is?
Our pull factor,
Yeah.
It's continues to be quite high. I mean, again, I don't know what it is.
So our surrounding cities don't have the numbers of people that proportionately come to our town to shop, and or go to concerts, or go to the grocery store, or go all the different things they do. And so this is it's a great value to those that are coming here to shop. They are receiving top quality emergency services. They utilize our swimming pool, they utilize their library, not to the extent that the citizens of Bonner Springs do. That's the benefit. And we, like you pointed out, Roger, we have benefited to the tune of over $500,000 a year for who knows how many years. 15 years I can think of off the top of my head. I don't know when we started the first.
2003 was when the emergency.
So that's almost 20 years ago that the quarter-cent sales tax, and they, it's benefited Bonner and our community greatly. So I appreciate your hard work, and it is going to be a challenge for all of us to help re-educate the people who are going to be voting for this, Bonner citizens, of that value. So it comes down to all of us that has to do that. The city has addressed that what they're going to do is more of an education campaign like they've been able to do in the past. But the fire department has to help educate, the Public Works has to help educate, has to not so much go out and directly affect it, but be prepared to say, what's the quarter-cent sales tax about? Here's where you go get that information. And all of us do too. So it's very important, and I greatly appreciate the way it's being presented. So thank you very much.
Yeah, I believe it is, tremendously important. I was misunderstanding our rate, obviously, and making sure that we're competitive. I mean, to draw those people, because they will just drive down K7 and skip over us if we're a little bit high, but having top-notch services and police and fire and everything is tremendous. So,
and compare us to the Legends area, the sales tax at the Legends. It kind of goes under the radar, but it's considerably higher at the Legends than our sales tax is here. So.
Yeah, well, they have
Star bonds.
They have a star bond, which is a SID.
And right across they have SIDs.
Yeah, and I think even Shawnee, we got a half a point. Just the county's a half a point lower in Wyandotte than in Johnson County. And I think the city. So if you're going to a Walmart, the closest one, the lowest price one as far as sales tax is concerned is your local Bonner Springs Walmart. Same thing with Price Chopper as well. So.
Very good. Any other?
I think that should be part of the messaging, is that we're still more competitive, and keeping those things in place doesn't take us out of that position.
Right.
It's an awful good message.
Good. Thank you. Anything else? Seeing none, vote please.
Voting on a motion to approve a resolution to place the renewal of the capital improvement sales tax on the November 8th ballot. Gurley?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Kip,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Reeves.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. On to item number 6, which is the water well permanent easement acceptance.
Good evening, Frank Abart, Public Works Director. This is an item that's essentially required by state regulations. It's to make sure that there's a pollution boundary of a minimum of 100-foot radius around all new wells that produce water. And our engineering team has developed the most ideal place as best as they could for where this well should be located, and it required us to go ahead and get a little bit of an easement from the adjacent landowner. In exchange for that, that landowner desired 2 water pit installations and waiver of those associated fees, which I've noted here as a total cost of $2,796 as compensation for 5,668 square feet of permanent easement, approximately 0.13 acres. Any questions? I guess I would entertain them.
Thank you very much. Any other staff, citizens? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to accept the permanent easement for pollution prevention boundary.
Second.
So moved by Mrs. Gurley and seconded by Mr. Stevens. We'll start down here with Mr. Reeves. Any questions, concerns?
Yes, I'm looking at the diagram for this, and I see shape and so forth, but I can't tell exactly where it is from this. I need something larger to give me some perspective or something there. Can you tell me what?
You're asking where it is?
Yeah.
So it's on the back side of the old Swingster building on the southwest corner of that
Way at the
building.
southwest corner, yeah.
Okay, that gives me a better idea.
It is.
Yeah, there's an alley, so the city property goes on the back side of that and then kind of wraps around as you get to the K7 bridge. But because of the location of the well, they want it, what is it, 100-foot easement around there?
Yeah.
So in order to do that, we just need to have that permanent easement of that little area shown on that picture of the southwest corner of the old Swingster building.
And so the property owner that we're talking about, would be whoever owns Swingster, right?
Yes.
Yep.
Just like COV.
And I think to give some perspective, there are 3 tenants in there, so the thought is that right now they have 1 meter going in there. He wants to be able to have that split out so each one of his tenants is able to pay, which is honestly is good for us too, because then we're having 3 accounts as opposed to 1. So.
Sounds reasonable.
Yep.
The owner is Cod Drive LLC. And this is clear at the southwest portion of their property, and it's, I don't know how familiar you are with that particular geographic area, but there's this huge ravine right past that, adjacent to there, and I mean, it's unusable for them for anything else anyway, so worked out good for us.
Yeah, I'm glad it has. I'm glad we're able to do something like this with our neighbors.
Yeah.
Well, that was the same question, is basically, is trying to understand the location, and it's kind of nice of somebody not wanting to think they're going to become a millionaire because of something like this. So I'm glad it appears they are very easy to work with in regards to this matter.
Overall, yes.
Nothing else.
Frank, on the cost, is this a one-time deal?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
This is a permanent easement where we
saw that, but
essentially control, we don't own it, so they get to keep paying taxes on it, but
Yeah.
but we own the control over what's placed there and things like that.
Great, thank you.
So that it's real close to that old city water facility of some kind.
There's, yeah, actually where you see this
Yeah.
notch out here, that's an old
That's it.
well that we need to decommission. It's an old one we're not using, but it's never been really properly decommissioned. So.
And it's all overgrown terribly down there.
Little bit. Little bit.
Very good. Seeing no other questions, concerns, vote please.
Voting on a motion to accept the permanent easement for pollution prevention boundary. Reeves?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Wood?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Kip?
Yes.
Shirley? Yes. Motion passes.
All right, on to one of the more exciting items this evening. Item number 7, lift station number 2, design build phase 1 agreement.
Good evening. Again, Public Works Director Frank Abart. I'm not sure how many of you know where Lift Station 2 is located. Well, yeah. I do. 1, anyway. 2, okay. It's along Front Street, and it manages and processes through about 70%, a little over 70% of all the raw sewage for the city. So it's a pretty important facility. And we kind of started work on this. We had some current funds in this year's budget to start working on a replacement. And before we could get that far, on Friday, May 20th, we had a pretty significant discharge that developed here. And we had to address it. And by addressing it, we had to start excavating until we found it. Just our luck, it was pretty deep. It was 30, 35 feet in the ground for this excavation. And before we could actually complete this repair completely, it rained, and it rained a lot. We have records down at the wastewater treatment plant that indicated 4.5 inches of rain during this period. As a result, there was a significant deterioration of the subgrade and everything that was supporting the rest of this station. And stuff started falling in. And the platform for the electrical went first. Shortly after that, the platform holding the backup generator. And so there was just one failure after another because of this intense rain. I keep rolling around thinking what I could have done differently, but I can't think of what I could have done. So anyway, it is what it is. So what we did was we put a recovery plan in place, and that involves pumping, bypass pumping right now, which we'll probably have to be doing for the next year and a half, roughly. Assuming we can go through with these plans to develop an alternative, a replacement, essentially, is what we need to do. This question before you today is a request to approve design build phase 1. You've been through this with the water plant. We did a design build phase 1. Then they came back in a certain period later with a proposal for the phase 2, which actually involves the completion of the design work and the construction work. I'd expect that to happen in the January, February timeframe. There was no competitive bidding for this or competitive proposals selected. This particular vendor was already vetted for the water plant. They're going to be here just a few miles down the road. It is hoped that we could utilize and leverage that to our advantage and reduce mobilization costs and reduce costs associated with the project because they're going to be here anyway. And due to the nature of the urgency of getting this done, that decision was made. We can make that because we can select professional services, and that's what this is. Not sure where else I can go with this other than to emphasize it is a phase 1 design build. That will get you 30% design, which is enough to develop a final phase 2 proposal, which you'll see again. And The cost of this at this point is $194,941. We expect to pay for this through a combination of funds that we have currently budgeted in our current year budget, as well as some insurance proceeds, which haven't all been washed out yet. Poor choice of words, I guess. And of course, we're talking about a bond, which I'm pretty excited about actually, because that could wrap into a solution for this whole thing that you wouldn't really see an increase. It would extend some areas where we have bonds dropping off in the next couple of years. But we'll talk more about that in about 6 months when we get the final costs pulled together.
Very good.
That's it for me, sorry.
All right, no, that's good. Thank you. I'm sure we'll have lots of questions.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead. Any other staff input? Citizens' questions? None, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve Phase 1 Design Build Agreement with Burns and McDonald CAS Corporation LLC for design of a new lift station number 2 in the amount of $194,941.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Reeves and second by Mr. Shannon. We'll start down here with Mr. Shannon. Questions, concerns, comments?
Ouch.
Yeah.
When it rains, it pours. No, thanks.
What's happening to, hi. What's
Hi.
happening to the area now? I mean, how are awful things being stopped from happening?
Right now, we are, see if I can describe it without grossing everybody out, but it's a manhole on the other side of Front Street where we're pumping out of there, and we're pumping into a different force main along the south side of Front Street. That's how it's getting there now.
Rerouting.
And it's all manual, and, we have a certain amount of exposure there if we ever have something leak.
The pumping is being done by,
Yeah, we've got like a trailer with a mobile pump system set up there.
mobile pump and a generator that is being manned or
Yes.
checked on.
When you said manually, I was a little confused.
Twice a day, we're putting diesel into the thing to make sure it doesn't run out of diesel. So, by the way, we are working on some other solutions that I talked to my city manager about this morning related to this bypass pumping that we think is better, but we have to have some discussions with our insurance carrier first.
Is this going to affect the water treatment plant situation in any way, shape, or form?
No. Nope.
So is the bypass going to be our best option until we get something new in place? Some form of a bypass?
Yeah. I don't know how else we would do this. So, yeah, we're going to have to do bypass until a new lift station is online and in place.
And is that going to be at the same location?
No. At this point, we're talking about it being across the creek on the other side of the creek.
To the west?
East.
Still in that same general area, just.
Not the big creek, the little creek.
Right now, it's on the west side of the creek, so it would go across to the east side of the creek.
Is that already our property?
Nope. We're working on that.
Shouldn't ask that. Thank you.
I'm assuming the businesses and other residents down there are not having fragrance issues?
If they have, they haven't shared it.
Okay, that's good.
So we haven't got any complaints, I should be.
Is there a reason why you want to move it across on the other side of the creek? Is it because that ground has been just so disturbed?
That's part of the reason, and the other is we just think it will be a better location now and in the future. We currently have the 10-inch, I don't know how much detail I need to go into this, but we currently have a 10-inch force main over there that was in service and in use. But right adjacent to it is an 18-inch. It's newer, and it was put, I say newer, it's only 10 years old maybe. but we would like to be able to position the new lift station so that sometime in the future, we could use that newer line as well with a higher capacity. Right now, you can't really do it when the big line is on that side of the creek and your lift station is on the other side of the creek.
Gotcha.
So in order to capitalize on the asset that's already there,
And then I assume, is this the dates you've given us, which is February of 2023 or sooner, is that pretty aggressive as it is, or are we hoping that's
well, I
giving
always-
us a lot of room to breathe, and we really would like to get it done sooner than we
well,
possibly could?
that would be the date when we would come back with a phase 2 proposal.
Right, but
So
we're talking.
You're talking about 6 months, that's a
and then-
pretty
and
fast.
once that comes back to us, and if it gets approved, which it needs to.
We're hoping
It'll
by
be
the end of next year is what we're hoping,
the end of '23.
yes.
Okay,
But
thank you.
that's not cast in stone. We got a ways to go before we get that final number. But every month that we delay it,
Right.
we're
that's-
bypass pumping. And right now, that's about $15,000 a month.
And, real quickly, I just wanted to make sure, I did understand you that because of the nature, there's no Kansas statute that we're, violating by not taking any competitive bids on this?
There's none that I'm aware of.
No, I'm not aware of,
You're utilizing all local funds.
yeah, and that's part of why when we do SRF loans and things like that, there's some pre-qualifications that we have to follow. Anything that has attachments to it, or money, somebody else has attachments to it unless you're dealing with a private side of things, which, as Frank alluded to, that's, after looking at the budget, that's something that we think we can digest without a big impact on rates or otherwise, because there is debt falling off in 2024, I believe, for something.
Wastewater
Yeah,
issue.
so it's, yeah, I do not, I'm fairly certain there's nothing. You're free to do what you wish as far as this is concerned.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yep.
I'd hate to see us find ourselves in court. because-
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, so I take it that this happened because we had to inspect it to see what's going on, is that?
Well, yeah, we knew there was a failure. It was pretty obvious there was a failure, but you have to excavate to find out the extent of the failure before you can even put a plan together to fix the failure.
Anyway, sorry this happened to you.
Yeah,
So it is.
4.5 inches of rain did a lot of damage.
Right. So it is good that we had a relationship with McDonald to begin with them being so involved with the water treatment plant. So they have been selected. It's not like we just randomly picked anyone.
Right. I mean, they were vetted.
Vetted for that project. They're
Incredibly
also
qualified.
probably one of the top 3 in this whole region that's able to perform this work. So, this facility, when it failed, and you went to Plan B, the states approved this.
Yes, they're completely aware. We have to report things like this within 24 hours. So, yeah,
Bingo, that's right.
they know what's
Very good.
going on.
And the 4.5 inches, there was no one was injured. There was no other damage, just to this facility. Very good.
And our spillage that took place, the discharge into the Kansas River was pretty minimal.
Very good.
And of course, with all the rain.
When you, in the grand scheme of things.
Dilution, yeah.
Yes.
Is this the lift station that you said had you known, you wouldn't have come here?
That's the one. It had a whole bunch of safety issues, a bunch of safety problems. These things are, yeah, well, this is not the way I planned to do this, but.
Well, I'm glad that no one was hurt, and
Yes.
we're on our way. So, any other questions, concerns, comments concerning this vital issue? Seeing none, vote please.
Voting on a motion to approve the Phase 1 Design-Build Agreement with Burns & McDonnell CAS Constructors LLC for the design of a new lift station number 2 in the amount of $194,941. Kip?
Yes.
Wood,
Yes.
Long,
Yes.
Reeves,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Gurley,
Yes.
Shannon.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good, sorry, thank you. On to item number 8, which is the lift station number 2 owner's representative services.
Yes,
Please.
Frank Abart, Public Works Director. As you learned when we did the design-build project, or pursued the design-build project for the water treatment facility, an important component of the design-build activity is that you have an owner's representative where you can draw upon those skills and expertise to essentially keep them in check and make sure that they actually build what they say they're going to build, make sure what they propose to build, it's all worked out as a team effort, and to make sure it passes the KDHE muster for all of these things. Unless you have the staff full of engineers with electrical and hydraulic and all those kind of skill sets. This proposal is, again, to use the owner's representative that we currently have on staff and working with the water treatment plant, which is BG Consultants. So they can represent us for this particular design-build project in the amount of $25,000 for the phase 1 at this point. Again, we feel like there will be some economies here, since they got to be here anyway, just down the road, performing those same services.
Very good. Any other staff comments, concerns? Citizens, questions? Seeing none, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion to approve the owner's representative agreement with BG Consultants, Inc. for services related to a new lift station number 2 in the amount of $25,000.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Stevens, and this time seconded by Mr. Shannon. And we'll go ahead and start right here with questions or concerns, ma'am.
No question.
Nothing.
So I guess it's lucky this happened at the same time that we're putting in the water treatment.
That's one way to look at it.
That's optimistic. I like that, but
Will the estimate for the phase 2 of this be roughly the same amount of money? Do we have any way
I don't
of
know
guessing at
until
that?
the actual phase 2 is developed and they determine how complex it's going to be to do the inspections and reviews. We're going to have to wait until phase 2 is developed before the owner's rep can, make an estimate of what they think it would cost. Good question, but it's premature. Sorry.
Nothing additional.
Nothing here.
Very good. No other questions, concerns, or comments? Vote, please.
Voting on a motion to approve the owner's representative agreement with BG Consultants, Inc. for services related to a new lift station number 2 in the amount of $25,000. Long,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Kip,
Abstain.
Wood,
Yes.
Shannon,
Yes.
Gurley,
Yes.
Reeves.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Thank you. On to our last item this evening. Item number 9, our 2022 street resurfacing acceptance and change order. Staff.
Last but not least, right? Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm Matt Beets. I'm the Deputy Director of Public Works. Tonight's item is for the acceptance of the 2022 street program, and we had a change order on the project. It was the only one we had on the entire project, but McEnany Construction completed all the work on all the streets. During the process, we did identify 2 locations that actually had some soft areas in the subgrade, hence why we had to do a change order with this. This is the full depth portion that we had to replace. And there was a few like valve adjustments we had to do too. If you look through the spreadsheet a little closer, but majority of the project was, everything was done pretty much right as we planned, and other than these two locations, we didn't really run into anything else. When we put out the bid and awarded the bid, we did not include any quantity for full depth patching, because honestly, we don't know if we're going to hit it until we get there. We start tearing up the street, and we don't know how much we're going to have either, so that's why we bring a change order to you tonight. So other than that.
Thank you. Any other staff comments, input? Seeing none. Citizens, questions, concerns? Seeing none. I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Mayor, on behalf of Bob Reeves, make a motion to approve the change order number 1 in the amount of $34,856.90 with McEnany Construction. Approve final payment of $99,214.28 and accept the project for the final project cost of $678,430.69.
Second.
So moved by Mr. Shannon and seconded by Mr. Reeves. Questions, concerns, comments, and we'll start down here with Mr. Shannon.
How big of an area are we talking about that costs two areas that cost $35,000 to resurface?
Microphone.
I thought I had it on.
It's on.
One of the areas is right across from Bonner Springs Elementary School. It was approximately 36 feet long and wide. No, that's not right. It was about half the road width and close to 80 feet long. There was another one that was up on Riverview that was 8 feet wide, maybe by 50 feet at least.
Is that just normal erosion and?
That's usually a subgrade issue underneath the surface. We're normally just treating the surface area, the top 2 inches of it. That's what most of this project addresses. This is the piece underneath of that. On it, like the piece down across from BSE, we got down into it. It was just like almost like walking on a marshmallow. It was really, really soft. So they just start digging out a little bit, and we end up putting in close to 8 inches of asphalt underneath of it, and then 2 inches on top of that.
That just happens once in a while, is it?
Depends. You can run into that quite a few places, but
Interesting.
well, we all run into it once in a while. I guess I should say not quite often, but.
Okay, thanks.
Something we need to have done, just as a side note, the remaining balance is still going to be enough then for the preservation work that we need to have done this year.
Yeah, we haven't even put that out yet, so we were waiting until this was all completed, so we knew how much money we had left, and then we'll go through and pick the streets to fit into our budget.
But it looks like it'll be enough, probably.
Oh yeah.
Assuming the bids.
Yeah.
It should be enough to cover it. So. Okay,
yes,
thank
sir.
you.
I had some nice compliments on the way the streets look and so forth. My one question is, down by the elementary school, will that be striped before school starts?
Yeah, down on the ends. Yeah, we'll put that back in there.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's coming up quick. Any other questions, concerns, comments? Seeing none. Yes, I've had quite a few compliments on the road program this year and how nice the roads are looking. So thank you. Seeing nothing else, vote please.
Voting on a motion to approve change order number 1 in the amount of $34,856.90 with McEnany Construction, and approve final payment of $99,214.28 and accept the project for a final project cost of $678,430.69. Wood?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Gurley?
Yes.
Shannon?
Yes.
Long?
Yes.
Hip?
Yes.
Reeves?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Very good. Thank you. On to our reports for this evening, and the first of which, our city manager's report.
A few quick things. I do just want to clarify an earlier question about the selection with Burns and Mack and that. I think the mayor did a good job of going through and explaining, obviously, that we had a contractor on site, so they were already have gone through that process. I did just want to also add not, hopefully it's evident, but the emergency nature of this situation is why the process is what it is really about, and I think Ms. Wood also said this, we are fortunate to have a contractor in town that is doing work. So again, I just want to make that clear that this isn't our typical way of going about it. But this is an emergency situation as well. A few just reminders. The Area Agency on Aging will be in town tomorrow at the library at 11 a.m. So for folks that are interested, this is an opportunity, a public hearing to both learn about programs and offerings through that service, that countywide service, which also includes Leavenworth County, but also to solicit feedback about programs. So that is at 11 o'clock tomorrow at the City Library for those that are interested. And then lastly, just as a reminder, we do have the general fund budget session at our next council meeting. So that's kind of a little bit more encompassing. But again, that'll be as a workshop as we normally have done at our next council meeting. With that, that is all I have.
Very good. City council items, and we'll start down here with Mr. Reeves.
Just good to be here.
I just had something really quick. So many times we make decisions up here and we don't really ever see the true effect of those decisions. Well, I got to experience a decision we made this last year on Thursday night when I had to call the fire department for a ruptured gas line, and I bet they showed up within less than 2 minutes. It was nice to have such quick response from our fire department. So, Chief, make sure you relay that to the the individuals working. That's it.
I had a couple of things. Just curious if there's any news on the water issues we've had at the police department at City Hall. Any update there?
At this point, there are continual efforts to address the issue. I think at this point, the chlorination disinfection process has been done now at least 3 or 4 times. I think there's a recirculation pump that was unfortunately damaged in this facility that needed to get replaced. That was put in, I believe, late last week. So the efforts, long story short, are ongoing, but there is a path at least identified to correct it. That's about as good as an answer as I can give.
All right. Is there any update on the animal control building?
I am slated to
Turn your mic on, please.
go sign documents. Thank you. I am going to sign documents on Thursday this week to close on that. So that unfortunately had a little bit of a delay due to some family issues with the owners. But that is still slated to move forward and hopefully get that all straightened out this week.
Awesome, thank you. Last thing is that Thursday night's our final city band concert until Tiblo Days. It's your last opportunity to hear horrible jokes by our mayor and president of the council in between really good music.
I will second that.
I heard the jokes did improve this last
They
week.
were pretty good. Good.
What she said.
Is there any more on, from Block Associates regarding K7 Nettleton possible development?
Nothing significant at this point. Again, as a reminder, there was a rezoning that occurred on the southern area there as Nettleton would go up across K7, but I know they were, we've had some internal meetings with them. Things are still progressing, so nothing too significant to report, but I anticipate hopefully some items coming before you probably in the next 60 to 90 days, hopefully.
Great. And the ever-living, lovable IGA market, where Thriftway.
Oh, I was like, what? Am I forgetting a
He's
new
not
business
that
around
old.
here? Yeah.
Yeah. I'm still on Sandstone.
IMG, yeah, that's, I have another name for it, but, we asked them to put a fence up around the area, so you will notice that the building continues to, suffer from yeah. So Amber and I met with the ownership group early part of June and sat with them and had a rather frank conversation about the fact that we need to get something going. So they were looking at their options as far as what to do to, one, secure the site, which they have done with some fencing around it by and large, but also to remove the structure, which is, I think, needs to get done. Complicating this, of course, at this point is some news from the state about some additional funding. So we did put in an application initially that was declined for that facility, but they have, because of, for whatever reason, additional funding available, so that might come into play. But nevertheless, that line of communication remains open, and we hope to have something back from them. I think Amber talks with them quite frequently about trying to get a plan in place. But again, that's about as good as I can do on that one right now, too.
Thank you.
Nothing else?
Nothing more.
Well, I'll build on that. Have we heard anything from Velocity? Nope. Quiet, running dark since COVID. And that's not surprising, a lot of things are. I haven't been out by Medline. What's the status of that development?
You can go ahead.
Scannell is working on all of the public improvements. They have a lot of the site grading done, a lot of the trees removed. They've got all of their silt fencing and some of phase 2 of their silt fencing because it started, degrading because the trees came out. But they were able to put some additional fencing up. And since they got the easement, they were able to move forward with the starting on Riverview public improvements.
Very good. And is there a power
I think they're still
station?
working on that one.
Still working on that? Okay. And Old Dominion, it said that that's wrapping up. Do they have a completion date?
They don't have a completion date yet. I think they're hoping within the next month. I know that they had some production crews out to kind of film for potential employees, to draw some employees. I know that they still are working with Evergy and engineering on lights along 130th, but they're getting close on their facility.
Have they started marketing those pad sites
Not,
that you know of?
they've had some interest, but they haven't put anything out there aggressively yet.
Certainly am excited for them to join our community, our business community, and look forward. Hopefully there'll be an opportunity to visit that site when it opens. So I look forward to that. Yep, very good. Thank you. Other than that, like I made mention earlier, I have received quite a few compliments on the roads here in Bonner Springs, the new improvements this year. And that's such a nice change over my lifetime. It hasn't always been the case. We've always had concerns. I remember Nettleton when it was washboard coming down Nettleton. You might remember that too, Tully. I don't know. But a lot of things have changed, and Shidley is doing much better. So I appreciate all the hard work on that. COVID continues. Please be aware and watch out for your own health as best you can. It is impacting the council as we speak, and this variant seems to be not as intense as what other variants have been, but it still has its risks, and I wish everyone nothing but the best of health. And the last scheduled city band concert until Tiblo Days is coming up this Thursday. Also, one of my favorite aspects of that is the ice cream social, because they have a huge selection of diet treats that I take advantage of. Broken cookies. The ice cream is the best ice cream put in a bowl at this band concert. So, other than that, I stand for questions. Or I sit for questions. Seeing none, we're adjourned.